Hello and welcome to the Fourth Down Fiasco. I'm your host, Tanner Vinsky, and with me today is Daniel Weber. We're going full government names today as my mic drops. Okay.
Mic
But yeah,
drop.
we are coming back to talk about ELF Week 2, and we're going to go through and talk about some of the highlights of the game, talk about our Fiasco Awards of the week, which, we'll get a rundown of those since we get to them, and then we're going to go into some pick'ems. But before we get started, as always, our show is brought to you by BetStamp. BetStamp is the sports bookies to end all sports bookies. They have everything that you could ask for. They have Bet365. They have Caesars, MGM, Underdog, anybody you can ask for. So please go ahead, go to our link, go to BetStamp, and make sure to make a $5 bet with any of those bookies and sign up using our code, or sign up using our sign-up link, not our code. We don't have a code. We're not that fancy yet. But
.com/fiasco.
Exactly. So use our sign-up link. Go ahead, and we will, appreciate any money you send that way. But I'm going to kick it off over here to Daniel and get us started on our talking points.
Yeah, let's dive into week 2. A couple good games and a couple blowouts. Some we expected.
A couple sinkers.
Yeah. Some expected games, some unexpected games, depending on who you talk about. We'll talk about Vienna real quick because it's top of the board. Everyone saw this one coming. 62-15 over the Enthroners, and they absolutely annihilated Brock Doman, hitting him play after play, and he is now on the IR. So the Enthroners are now without a quarterback.
Which it wasn't going to be a pretty year for the Enthroners regardless, but it's about to be a very ugly year. Unless they can pull somebody else. Which, I mean, they could. They can maybe find somebody that could come sign in as an AM port. But it's still spooky. I mean, this was... We all knew that this was going to be a blowout. I mean, this is the best team in the league, as we've seen through the first 2 weeks. I mean, although they've had a very easy schedule, they are the ones that are the team to beat. Looks of Vienna, they're thinking, okay, they're the guys that haven't made up mistakes. They haven't shown any, they haven't shown any blood yet, right? Somebody needs to knock them down a peg. And this further just encapsulates that. And when you have that type of roster going against, which is arguably the worst roster in the ELF, I mean, guarantee I like them more than Cologne, but you could make an argument that they're not too far ahead, right?
Yeah. But
so yeah,
the scary thing in Vienna, their offense I don't think is really clicked yet. They had, I think, was it 2 pick sixes in this game?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, Ben Holmes threw for 4 touchdowns, but he only threw for 161 yards. It's like, wait until the offense actually clicks along with the defense. Who knows? But the very bad thing about this game, Kari Pajarini ended up on the IR on the first drive of the game.
Do we know how many weeks he's going to be out?
I think the IR is 4 weeks.
4 weeks in here.
If you're placed on IR. So they had a nice little 1-2 punch with their running backs backing it up with Vegan and Leidelbauer going for 95 and 90 respectively. But, I mean, you can air raid it. We'll talk about it a little bit later with the Nordic Storm, but they have the offensive weapons on the wideouts to just almost not abandon the running game, but
they don't have to rely on it.
Yeah.
They'll be fine without it, which is crazy to say about a football team to have one dimension of offense and just be like, we don't really need to utilize that. We'll be fine without it.
Yeah.
And another part of that too is even though he's on IR for 4 weeks, they have a bye within that range as well. So that's going to help Vienna out a lot. Guaranteed they got to play Ryan twice before he comes back, which, makes it seem like Ryan might take one of those games just because Vienna's a little banged up. But I think it's one of those things where, like you said, Vienna's going to be able to throw the ball as much as they want. As long as Ben Holmes plays effectively and doesn't make mistakes against Ryan, Ryan's going to have a hard time keeping up with Vienna. It's the only thing Ryan is going to have an advantage of during those weeks without Kari is going to be, well, if he makes mistakes, we can capitalize it on it, right?
Yeah. But I'm not too worried about Vienna losing their running back. They did go ahead and sign Aaron Donkor, who used to play for the Rhein Fire last year,
Oh well.
also played for the Seattle Seahawks. So the Vikings defense that is already probably one of the top defenses in the league just got a lot stronger.
Yeah, and
I don't know how you're going to stop Donkor. Is it who's the Schaefer, Lucky, and Swankar off the edge? And that's not
no,
even all.
I mean, it's a stacked roster. I mean, that's why I'm very excited for week 3 to see them against Rhein, because with how stacked they are, the Prague and Verevar games, I mean, there's not really a whole lot you can take from it, you know?
They're preseason games. But, yeah, with what the Vikings have on paper, you would like to say that they should win the championship, barring injuries.
I mean, it's not ridiculous to say they're the favorites. I mean,
no, yeah. But, I mean, we saw a favorite tumble this week that we'll get to in a minute. But we'll hop to Hamburg and Prague real quick. Kind of not what everyone was expecting with no import quarterback for Hamburg, relying on Mac, the German guy. The score was 28-13, doesn't do justice. It was a 1-point game going into the 4th. But you were saying earlier the Prague line offense, if you want to elaborate.
Yeah. So Prague's offense scares me moving forward, because even though Hamburg is a good team and like they have a good good team might be a little extreme for the situation they're going through, but they have a good defense, right? Like, I mean, they have Kyle Kitchens on that defense. This is a pristine defense that is going to hold their weight against other teams, right? But it's one of those things where you're going against a team, no AM port. This is this is a bottom half team in the league. Hamburg is. Like, it's unfortunate to say, because I think Hamburg's not as far away as maybe they look on paper, but they are a lower half roster in the ELF. And so when you go in as Prague and you're thinking, okay, yeah, we're a lower half roster as well, but we're at the top of that lower half. You know, we're one of those better lower half teams. You know, we're not Verifar, we're not Cologne, we're not Helvetic. We can actually put up a fight. And yes, to their credit, it was a 1-point game going into the 4th, but just to like have your offense be so deflated in the 4th, and you know, you let up at the very beginning of the 4th quarter. You know, Hamburg goes ahead and scores. You take a field goal attempt. You miss that. They go ahead and score again, and then you just turn it over on downs. Like, you're not putting up enough of a fight in that situation. And if your offense was just even, if you had anybody outside of Patterson, I think this would help a lot. But there's just not much about the Prague offense that gives me confidence in them punching above their weight class. I think they can beat the teams worse than them. I don't think it's going to be very convincing when they do, but they will beat them. But I have a hard time seeing them punch up and steal wins from people just with how limited that offense is. No,
yeah, I agree. It'll be interesting to see them next week. But I will say, I am excited about the future of Hamburg with, is it Talia?
It's like Tulea. I think it's Tulea.
The Tua's brother coming into Hamburg this week. Because, I mean, the Hamburg defense is there. They have the running back. If the wide receiver connection is good with the quarterback, I don't see why they couldn't upset or come close to upsetting one of the top 7 teams, the playoff contending teams. Not saying they'd make a run at anything, but hey, you never know.
It's Talea. That's how you pronounce it.
Talea.
So,
but I'm excited to see him play, because
I am too. And I think if he goes in and he looks, I mean, he was pretty good at Maryland. He wasn't like phenomenal, but he was good. And that's Maryland's Big Ten, right?
Yep, he's the Big Ten all-time leading passer in yards.
Yeah,
it's not like he's a nobody. I mean, he played against teams. Did Ohio State play Maryland this year? Did he play against the national champions? I don't know.
I don't know. Let me look at his. I'll pull up his page and I'll see if he had a game against Ohio State. But I mean, if he played in the Big Ten, he definitely played against them at some point.
No, but why?
He only had that 1 year in Alabama.
Yeah, but why fact check that? I'll bring up Frankfurt versus Madrid, 47-33 to Frankfurt. They finally got the bulletin board material to get a win, everyone's been saying that they haven't been good enough to do anything this season, even though they have drastically improved on paper. But Madrid's run defense is atrocious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good Lord.
They gave up, I don't even know how many. Let's see, how many rushing yards? They gave up 408 rushing yards in 40 attempts. So just over 10 yards an attempt. That is atrocious. But looking at it, Madrid looked like they should have ran the ball more, even though they threw for 460 yards. They were averaging almost 20 yards an attempt per run. They had 124 yards on 23 attempts. That doesn't sound right. That'd still be 10. These stats are wrong.
Regardless, I mean, when we're looking at Madrid, because I'll start with Madrid since it's my team, right? As much as I want to gas up Frankfurt, because this is a huge win for them, and I don't want to discredit. A lot of times when we look at games like this, we'll take the team that's favorited, and we'll just dogpile on the team that was favorited and be like, oh my God, you blew this game. Like, you should have had this. You were the better team. This says a lot about Frankfurt. I think Frankfurt is a team that shocking. Like, I know we were talking about preseason, we're like, we know who the 6 playoff teams are. You know, like, we know who they are. And Frankfurt wasn't one of them. I think Frankfurt is one of them. And I think we're going to see, you know, Munich, Madrid, or Paris fall out, and Frankfurt's going to take it. And there's no reason that they shouldn't, because on looking at this game, simply enough, they're the more talented roster. Like, as much as it sucks to say, and as much hope as we had for Reed Sinet, and I don't want to like do the first take like Shannon Sharp, sit there and shit all over Reed Sinet because he lost the game.
Phenomenal. Besides, I mean, he had 2 picks, but threw up 460 yards.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I don't want to pile on and do the first take like I didn't watch the game, so I'm just gonna sit there and be like, you're the quarterback that was responsible for the team, and so you lose. Like, I mean, Shannon's the one that said that about Joe, right?
Yeah, every time the Bengals lose, no matter if he puts up 60 points, it's like Joe Burrow should have threw another touchdown. It's like he threw up 8. What did you want him to do?
Yeah, what else do you want him to do? And but that's the thing, is where you look at it with Reed Sinet, and I think our expectations going in for him being a practice squad guy in the NFL, being somebody who's coming into the system, I think we're putting a lot of pressure on him to be like the best guy in the ELF, right? Like, there's a lot of he's going to be phenomenal. We were picking him for MVP, doing a lot of these things. And he's showing that he can ball and he can play really well, but he's not exactly the best of the league right now. And that's fine. This is his first time coming in. And, when you look at this roster, you can't put the blame entirely on him, because he went 30 for 44, 459, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Yeah. And again, if I was in the like, we're looking at an NFL stat line, that's a bad NFL stat line, regardless of what you say. Like, it's like, his completion percentage isn't terrible. He threw 3 touchdowns. In the NFL, you go 30 for 44, 453 and 2. Fans are going to be ripping you apart because you threw those 2 picks. You had a good amount of incompletions, and that's just not the case that it is in the ELF. Like, the talent, like the level of excellence in terms of talent and play style isn't going to be at the top level there. So I'm not upset with how Reed Sinet played. And I think it shows that he can play better and continue to do better. But it's one of those things where it's like, I don't look at this and I'm like, man, Madrid's offense has got to get together. Madrid's offense did their job. The defense, like, they should be
like watching Cincinnati.
Very sad. Like, yeah.
Like, the best described this game for Madrid was watching Cincinnati last year. Their offense did what they needed to. One of the picks, the first pick Reed Sinet threw, 4th and goal from like the 17-yard line after a touchdown got called back. Instead of kicking a field goal, because we know how kicking is in the ELF, it's garbage, which is still dumbfounding to me, but it is what it is. The person guarding the crosser ended up picking him off. It bounced off 2 people and into his hands in the end zone.
Exactly.
It was just a wild pick, and he forced it a little bit, but he was getting pressured. It was 4th and 17. Like, he just threw it up, hoping for the end zone, and it just ended up in a dude's hands. But I mean, just looking at Sinet from week 1 to week 2 is
It's an
already great,
improvement.
and his connection with Cruikshank improved drastically. Like he missed
And
the 3 long
Cruikshank,
shots week 1, and now he has 200 yards and a touchdown.
Cruikshank is going to have some insane stats by the end of the
Yeah.
season. I can tell you that already. Like he's going to be top in the receiving leaders. I don't know if he's going to be number one guy, but he's going to be up there.
He's going to be close. But Madrid does need to work on their run game. They had the most attempts were 11 for 30 yards, which
Terrible.
not good.
On the inverse of it, though, on the inverse of it, I mean, Frankfurt, like we said, I mean, that offense is not what I was expecting to see at all. Like, I thought they were going to be a pretty decent offense, but Platzgummer, dude, I mean, he was getting anything he wanted, you know?
Yeah. And that goes to Madrid's non-existent run defense. But, I mean, still going for 250 against any team is crazy.
It's impressive as hell.
18 attempts.
Well, and think about, let me pull up Platzgummer's stats from week 1, because I think he had a pretty decent game against Stuttgart.
So also, while you pull it up, I've been seeing people talking about how Platzgummer is kind of coming back into what he should have been. Like last year, he wasn't there. He didn't play well. But so far, he's kind of picking it up where he should have been, which is good to see since we've never seen him play. Like last year, we got a poor version of him. But if this is Sandro Platzgummer, that is awesome.
Platzgummer had a great game against Stuttgart. They didn't run him very often because they were losing pretty much the entire game. So he had 10 attempts for 48 yards and a touchdown. So he had a 4.8 average. And then on top of that, in the air, he caught 5 passes for 48 yards.
Yeah. So apparently this is like the return of Platzgummer.
Yeah. So this guy's going to be the vocal point of their offense. And if that's the case, like I have a lot of faith in Frankfurt to do really well this year.
Yeah. I mean, their defense is phenomenal, especially once they start clicking. I mean, they have 2 USFL All-Stars on their defense.
Yeah.
But no, the second matchup between these two teams is going to be amazing, just like this one. I mean, the score doesn't do it justice. It was a close game until the very end.
Exactly. No, this was honestly, yeah, I'll say, I think this was the best game of the week. I think this was my favorite game, even though there's like a huge upset that we'll talk about here in a little bit. That was a massive defensive game, whereas this one was a lot more exciting, you know.
Anytime there's over 1,200 yards of offense and 80 points scored, it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
And before we move on to the next game, before we get into the Sunday slate of games, I did pull up Tale's stats in his final year of college, and he went 7 for 5. Oh my God, I can't read my computer. 3,300 yards, 25 touchdowns, 11 ints on the season. He did really well in the games where he was facing lower competition, and the games that he had against Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan weren't very pretty. Those are the games where a lot of his picks came from his lower completion percentage. But still, I mean, he went out there and he put up 286 yards, 2 touchdowns against Penn State. Like, yeah, that's more than pretty much anybody in the ELF can say, you know?
Yeah. I mean, we saw Matthew McKay, former D1 quarterback. He's lighting it up now. He struggled to begin with. We all said it in the beginning of when he came in the middle of last year. But, I mean, hey, he's on a playoff contending team now.
Absolutely.
But Nordic Storm, Wroclaw. You picked Wroclaw. Jordan picked Wroclaw. I picked the Nordic Storm. You made us look bad on First Downs Magazine's Pick'em.
I will say, Jordan is a follower. All right, I started the votes, so let's not blame Jordan too much. He just got lost in the sauce. He saw me picking an upset, and he was like, "I gotta."
He was just mad at me from work or something, apparently, and said, no, screw that. I'm just taking Wroclaw to piss Danny off.
Well, okay, and it's one of those things, too, where, you know, it's the gambling part of it, right? Where you're like, okay, I mean, I got to hit again, right? Like, as soon as he saw me go up and say, fuck it, I'm picking throat swab. Like, let's do this. Let's pick the fun upset. How is he supposed to sit there and be like, no, I'm going to pick the safe pick, right?
Yeah, especially with the loss of Tunga right in week 1 with a new team. It's like,
and that's why I picked this, because I thought that with losing their star running back, even though Nordic had so many options on offense, I thought it was going to throw a wrench into things, right? Like, this was going to be a time where Wrocław could sneak away with something. Like, they could punch above their weight class, catch him off guard, grab some momentum.
Especially because they dropped 55 the week before.
Exactly. And they didn't do that. And even though going into the fourth, this was a 20-14 game, it was only a 6-point game, it was a 1-score game. Never when I was watching this game did I think Wrocław was going to win. Before the game started, I was like, hey, it could happen. Like, there's a lot of things that could go right for them, and I could see it. About halfway through the first quarter, I was like, oh, I made a mistake. I was like, this team ain't going to beat Nordic. And that's just going forward for the rest of the year. Nordic is just extremely talented. Like, they just have so much talent on the roster. And I thought there would be some growing pains because you're a brand new franchise. You have to get everybody meshed up together. The thing is, though, they just took a bunch of veterans and threw them on one team. Those guys don't need time to warm up. Those guys know what they're doing. They're ready to go, and they're ready to go win a chip. And Nordic good very easily. It sucks that they lost arguably the best player on their – well, I'm not even going to say arguably. They lost the best player on their team, but despite losing the best player on their team, I think they're still arguably like second, third best roster in the entire league.
Yeah. And what's crazy is we've been covering this for 1 year. Jadrian Clark is only 2 years removed from his own league MVP and still won that championship game MVP last year.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's like, oh, well, they lost their MVP. It's like
Jadrian Clark is
quarterback is the MVP as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is just wild. It's like literally no other team can say that. I don't even know what other what other NFL football team can say that. Be like, oh, well, we lost one MVP, but we have the one from the year before.
The only time you would see that happen is like a sport that has less players on the floor, right? Like you could maybe see that in basketball or hockey. Mm-hmm. You would think about those Warriors teams. Like if Kevin Durant went down, it's like, well, we still have Steph Curry. Is one of those examples. It hasn't been that extreme in the sport recently with the NBA, just because parodies actually exist in the NBA now. But that's something that has happened in a lower sport. But with rosters this big, because they have bigger than NFL rosters, right? Don't they have 60-some players?
I think they have 65.
Yeah, so they're running 12 more players than an NFL roster does, and for a team to have 2 MVPs on it is kind of insane.
Yeah. Talking about Wrocław, I don't know why they tried to match Jadrian Clark in the Nordic Storm offense. You have your identity. It is not throwing the ball. You have a 1,000-yard rusher from last year and a D1 quarterback that can run the field like Lamar Jackson. You ran your 1,000-yard rusher 5 times for 3 yards. Why?
And to their credit, DJ Irons at least, went over 100 on the ground, which was kind of what I was expecting. I was expecting him to have a big day rushing.
Yeah.
But why are you not running more play action? Aren't you running more, you should be running more disguised runs. You should be running things like that.
Or something for sake.
Exactly. Run some pitch routes. Run something to confuse the defense. You have 2 effective rushers in the backfield. Utilize them. Don't make DJ Irons win this all on his arm,
Yeah, he's not good. If you have to rely on DJ Irons' arm, you're not going to win games. Point proven.
Yeah, you're taking him for his athleticism. Yeah. And he is very athletic. And when you saw him in the pocket this game, you're like, holy shit, this dude's fast. This guy's is an effective runner. And and this isn't to say he's a bad passer. He can throw the ball. He can make reads. He can do those things. But don't rely on him being don't rely only on the pass in this situation. Even if you are down, have some creativity in the offense. That's what it really feels like. It was just kind of a coaching disaster. They weren't being creative with their run plays. They weren't trying to open up the field. They were just saying, we're down. Fuck it. We're just going to chuck it, and that's why they lost.
they need to like go back and watch year 2 of Lamar Jackson, see what throws he could make, and then implement their 2025 offense into that.
Mhm.
It's like utilize his legs, limit his throws to what he can do.
No, yeah, and that's a great thing. Yeah, like look at early Lamar. Like look at what the Ravens did for him when he was limited as a passer. They don't do that anymore because he's no longer limited as a passer. He's developed. But
and now they just do both.
Yeah, and they just do both, and it's effective.
But no, the Panthers need to establish an identity, and maybe this was testing the identity. It's only week 2.
And this is one of those things where the Panthers still could have a good season. Like they just played, like we said, one of the top teams in the league.
Yeah. And yeah, maybe this was like a, hey, we tried something. It didn't work. It is what it is. Let's go back to the run. Hopefully. But let's talk about the big upset.
Oh, yeah. Let's get it.
Paris versus Stuttgart. The battle of the TV tower and the Eiffel Tower. This is what Stuttgart was saying.
They have a TV tower?
Stuttgart has a TV tower. It's a big tower. I don't know. I saw a post. They posted it. It was like TV tower versus Eiffel Tower. Yep, 2 towers. And there were no points except for the first quarter. Paris, Jamal was saying this, is basically building a 2000s Ravens defense, which is amazing. And I agree with it. They're just building a brick wall. And it's awesome.
No, I mean, in this league, like if you can be swallowing defensively, like we said, there's a lot of really good talent at the top end of this league. But if you can be like, if you can disguise coverages and you can be effective as a defense and you can just manipulate the way opposing quarterbacks see your defensive coverages, you're going to feast. And that's kind of what we talked about preseason when I was saying, like, this is the advantage you get when you bring Jack Del Rio in as a coach. Like, he's going to know how to confuse opposing quarterbacks. Yeah. Now, he might have not been effective at it as much in the NFL, but guess what? In the NFL, those guys' processing power is 10 times what the guys here are doing.
Yeah. No, and if Paris's offense can click, yeah, they did play another tough defense in Stuttgart, but if their offense can click, Paris might be scary. And we were curious about Paris's defense going into this year because of how bad they were last year.
Yeah.
And yeah, if Jalen Henderson can light it up and they get their run game going, get the pass game going, watch out for Paris, especially in their tough schedule. But I don't think Stuttgart, this was a blip. They lost their A receiver in the first quarter, so they were playing man down.
Yep.
But I don't see Stuttgart ever dropping 0 again in the near future.
No, and this is going to be one of those things where in 3 weeks, Stuttgart's going to be back to like 2 on our power rankings. You know, it sucks that they lost this game, but this is they lost to a good team.
The Fire lost week 2 against a new team. Paris is a quote new team this year, rebuilt and everything. Yeah. Maybe this is what Stuttgart needed. It's what the Fire needed last year to go on a tear.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, that was one of the better games. Complete opposite from the Madrid-Frankfurt game, which was also another great game. So if you liked offense or defense, you got both.
Yeah, you got to pick.
And if you like both, we can talk about the Raiders and Helvetic when there was defense and offense for one team only.
It was ugly.
And the Raiders lost their starting quarterback in the beginning of the game, and the Helvetic Mercenaries still couldn't stop a one-dimensional offense when all they did was run the ball for 44 points.
I mean, screw it. Do you want to? How about let's move before we come back to this game, because we can actually move into Fiasco Awards here.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk briefly about Berlin Munich?
Yeah, there wasn't much to talk about. Berlin's kind of where we expected them to, and Munich, I think, is a better team, like we mentioned before, fighting for that final playoff spot. I could see Munich. They have a solid, stout defense with their inside, like their D-line and their linebacker core. And Russell Tabor is looking good. 206 yards, 4 touchdowns. And then Justice Rodney, I forget his first name. 68 yards, 5.2 on the ground, average. Then Malik Stanley himself, 3 touchdowns, 122.
Yeah. Munich's another team I really like. I think they're going to do. This is going to be, and again, this is where you're going to see why it's really tough to see Madrid lose the way it did to Frankfurt. It's like Madrid's path to the playoffs. They continue to play like that. It's going to be pretty tough. I mean, Munich doesn't look like they're going to slow down anytime soon. Frankfurt's the same way. Paris just had a massive upset against Stuttgart.
Yeah.
Where does that leave Madrid,
Outside looking in.
Yep.
When they're talking about rings in the beginning of the year. But, hey, that's what we were asking for. More parity. We're getting it.
Yep.
We thought there were 6 teams. There's up to like 8 now. Maybe 7.
I would say 8. I think, yeah, there's 8 teams I see as like good rosters that can make the playoffs and make something happen in the playoffs. Like after that, you kind of get like, the Tyrol and like, kind of these teams like Tyrol, Berlin, Wrocław.
I can see Tyrol kind of making a small push because they're right up there with Munich. Like they've always been back and forth. Yeah, they're underneath Munich, but it only takes one game to upset someone.
That's true. Yeah.
But so yeah, I think in a couple weeks we'll be able to see the widening of gaps between different tiers of teams. Yeah. But because for example, I don't need to talk much about the Munich game anymore. Berlin's kind of what we expected, and yeah,
Munich's good.
With Tyrol being up there, if you're playing a lesser opponent, don't let off, and they didn't. 44-6.
They demolished them.
Yeah, and their defense is good. It's an Austrian defense, stout, strong, wall, and they gave us our Fiasco Player of the Week because they cost 3 picks against Mr. Isaiah Weed and the Helvetic Mercenaries, holding him to a 50% completion percentage and only 156 yards.
It was a tough day for him, and this is where we'll give him some slack. Like he was massively outmatched in this game just based on what his offense was capable of doing and what the Tyrol defense was showing him. There wasn't really much for him to do in that game, but it was a very tough game for Isaiah Weed.
Yeah, not his best. And I saw a post with Matt Brasington today saying that Keelan Cole's just kind of out there. He's not doing much.
No, not at all.
He doesn't look good. He just looks like he's out there running around in a backyard. Like he had a 10-yard out route that he just kind of slowly did, and that caused one of the picks.
Mm-hmm.
You could have, like, any of the 3 of us could have picked the dude off. Like it was that easy to read, that slow. It was just bad.
And it's one of those things where, he just might not be invested in the league. He's playing for Helvetic. It's one of those things where.
But it's like if you're going to go over to the ELF, you're going to do a little bit of research on the team you're signing with.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
no. And
this isn't that Helvetic wasn't the best team.
Yeah, this isn't
everyone expected Cole to kind of be like what Cruikshank is, throwing up 200 yards a game, getting a couple touchdowns.
No, and the thing is with his talent and the way he has played and the way he's shown he's played in the past, he should be better than pretty much every wide receiver in the league.
He should be getting like 5 yards of separation against any of these guys.
He just needs to, play.
Actually insert himself. Yeah, like he needs to actually commit. But maybe it's a learning curve. It's a new league. It's a new thing. Who knows? But hopefully he gets better.
If not, then, he can take some of the pressure off Weed and take one of these awards one week,
Yeah, seriously.
Because that's the
we could have given it to him this week. He only had 2 receptions for like 30-something yards.
Yeah, we could have.
But when your quarterback is throwing 3 picks, it beats it out. But while we're talking about awards, and we kind of wrapped up week 1, let's bring up our other 2 awards. So Fiasco went to Isaiah Weed. Our Unsung Hero happened to be the ELF's Player of the Week, but not our Player of the Week. Platzcomer. 248 yards, 13.8 average, 18 attempts, 2 tutties. Looked amazing. With the dagger, the 88-yard dagger in the 4th quarter to really blow the game open.
No, and this is what we were saying earlier when reviewing the game. I mean, he was the offense for Frankfurt, and I'm excited. Like you said, everybody's been saying it's the return of Platt Scummer. Let's keep seeing, let's keep it rolling. I'm excited to see what type of numbers he's going to put up in the future weeks.
And we can keep that exact same comment going with our big dog of the week, Jadrian Clark. 303 yards, 5 touchdowns, 9.5 yards per attempt. No cheating, no problem.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those things where now he puts up those numbers and he gets himself right back into MVP conversations like he has been in the past. Third leading passer in the league now after that performance. And again, Nordic has had to play. Nordic, we're probably going to see them continuously put up points, and if they're going to continuously put up points against these teams, I mean, that's an easy path for Jadrian Clark to win another MVP.
Yeah, I mean, if they rely on the passing game, it is his to lose, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
But let's talk about week 3.
Let's do it.
All right. Congrats to Sandro and Jadrian. Isaiah Weed, play better. But first game of the week, the Prague Lions versus the Enthroners. The Enthroners are playing their homegrown Hungarian quarterback. I forget his name. But they will not have an A import on offense for Farivar.
For Farivar.
Their wide receiver. The spread, I think, was predicted before Brock Dooman got hurt. It was +2 to Farivar, but I'm going to go +2 to at least the Lions. I think the Lions get their first one of the year.
I think they do too. I think even if Brock was playing, I would still pick the Lions, right?
I would too, but this kind of just
an
extra nail.
No, I think we've both talked about it. Prague has more going for them right now. They're closer to competing. They have the better defense. I still have suspicions about their offense. I don't know if this is really going to be like a big win for Prague, but I think they're going to walk out of this one.
Anyone's a big win, right? When you've only won one time in your history, anyone's a big win.
That's very true. Yep.
So, but no, we're both going Prague.
Absolutely.
Sweet. And the Raiders get another bye week. Raiders versus Cologne. Spreads at +34.
+34. Holy shit. I mean, I guess they just blew the brakes off of Helvetics, so.
I'm hammering that over. I like Helvetic over Cologne. And we just saw what the Raiders without a quarterback did to Helvetic.
Yeah, they're going to. You're right.
Yeah, this is going to be a bad game. And it's what people complain about in the ELF is that gap, and the Raider Tyrols aren't even classified as a playoff team.
They're what we said, like the 9th best team in the league. That's how big the gap is between 9 and 16.
Yeah, the top is closed, the bottom has not. But every team has a bad team. It's like the Chiefs versus the Titans. It happens.
Yeah.
But so everyone's going Raiders on that one. I don't even think it's a question. Cologne does have a new A import quarterback, though, so I'll be curious to see how he does.
Yeah, hopefully he does well.
What?
I mean, hopefully he does well.
Yeah, hopefully. But third game of the week, game with 2 new A imports. One on the wide receiver for Stuttgart, and then the quarterback for Hamburg. This is not a fun game for Talia. Is it? What did you say it was?
Talea
to start in the ELF against. I would hate my first game to be against Stuttgart.
Yeah, bad place to start.
And the spread for this is +11 to Stuttgart.
I think that's fair. And honestly, I think they're going to win by at least 2 touchdowns. I think Talea is going to look good. And I think he's going to put up points against the Stuttgart defense. But I think it's going to be one of those things where Stuttgart, I mean, they just have so much more talent than Hamburg. Like, it's unreal. I think Talia can just make one mistake, and that's enough just to break Hamburg's hope of winning.
Yeah. I think it will be a good game in the first half.
I agree.
Hamburg will probably try to establish the run. They'll just kind of drain the clock. But then once they get down, I think we'll start seeing some cracks. But I'm going to go Stuttgart like plus 14. Yeah, 2 touchdowns. Then next, Madrid, we get to see what they get to do against the run of Helvetic. There's a running quarterback. Can Helvetic upset Madrid if they just rely on the run game?
I mean, Madrid in theory,
plus 23.
Yeah, in theory, yes. In reality, no. And yeah, I think plus 23 is a great spread. I'd take them by 4 touchdowns, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be ugly. I mean, it was ugly against Tyrol, and I think Madrid's a better team. So,
yeah, I think if you're playing fantasy football for the ELF, might as well take Sinet and Cruikshank.
Yeah, they'll go insane in this game.
But then what could be one of the games of the week, well, it is one of the games of the week, could be your game of the week, depending on who you're a fan of. Paris at Frankfurt. Both coming off huge wins, drastically different play styles, slow and fast. Spread is at plus 3 to Paris.
And this is, I've seen the light, and I just want to keep picking upsets. So I think that's what I'm going to do here. And I think Frankfurt's going to steal this one away from Paris, especially at home. They're getting the home advantage. They're going to be in front of their fans. And Frankfurt's, what I explained to you guys, I talked to Danny and Jordan when this game happened, and I said that Frankfurt's win against Madrid wasn't fluky. Like, there was nothing about that I felt was like, that was a fluky performance by Madrid. Frankfurt got lucky. Frankfurt was just the better team. Just hands down, we're the better team. When looking at the Stuttgart game against Paris, I felt that was a little fluky. Like, and not to the degree of like Stuttgart or Paris should have won the game, or Paris shouldn't have won the game, because they should have. They played better than Stuttgart. They did what they needed to do to get the win out of there. But I don't think you see Stuttgart's offense doing that again, right? Like, that felt like they got him on a good break and they were able to take advantage of it. Yeah. So looking at this game, I just think Frankfurt has more momentum than Paris does. Paris kind of got away with a shocking win, whereas Frankfurt really saw that they can punch up and they can take out some of these best teams. And like I was saying earlier, we might be discrediting Madrid too much after the loss, like maybe Sandro Platzgummer is really just that good, and
yeah. And there was a very controversial play that I forgot to bring up against the Stuttgart Paris game with that 4th and 4 attempt late in the fourth quarter, where if we had more camera angles, it would have been interesting to see the outcome, because he was right on the line. But hey, It is what it is. They stopped him. Good for them. But so they had that 4th and 4, and Paris held them at the goal line at 4th and 1. They stopped them.
Yep.
So it's like those two plays, great for Paris' defense, but that changes the entire game, obviously.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm excited. But so you're taking Frankfurt. I'm right there with you. I actually like Frankfurt.
You're taking Frankfurt too?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go, dude.
I need to see Paris's offense click.
Exactly.
We're in an offensive world. Every sport is all based on offense. Yes, defense can still win championships. We saw it last year with the Rhine Fire, but they still also put up 50 points. And if you're not scoring more than 6 points, or what, they scored 13 week 1 and 6 week 2.
I think so. I'll see what they scored against
15. So 15. They're at 21 total points in the ELF as a top team. That's not going to cut it.
Yeah, whereas Frankfurt has scored 67 points in the first 2 weeks.
And
Quite the
the
difference.
Nordic are almost at 100.
Yeah.
It's like you need to score points. Yes, defense can win championships or defense can win games, but it's week 2. You can't be relying on that in week 14.
100%.
So prove me wrong, Paris. You're already in our comment section making us mad.
Vice versa. Yeah. No, I would love it. Yeah, keep talking shit about us. Like every time we get stuff wrong, don't let us not be the end of it, you know?
We're not playing. We're just talking.
Yeah.
You're the one that can prove us wrong. Do it. But Nordic versus Berlin. Lines at plus 27 to the Nordic. First home game in Copenhagen for an ELF team. That should be fun.
Poor Berlin. I mean, this is going to be ugly.
I think Nordic's going to put up like 45.
I think so too. Now, I think Berlin's going to put up like a sneaky 21. You know, I think they're going to get a couple of touchdowns there.
Probably. I mean, they have a good offense. Like, I mean,
they have a great offense. So I think they'll still make something happen.
Yeah.
They'll still lose by 3 touchdowns, but they'll they'll put up points at least.
I think it'll be kind of similar to last week with Nordic. They'll be in the game, but it will never feel like they have a shot.
I agree.
The floodgates will open. But so both go Nordic. Then game of the week, Sunday night. In Dusseldorf at the big stadium, championship game rematch, Vienna Vikings at Rhine Fire. I don't think you're ready for this one. The spread of this, plus 23 to the Rhine.
What? Really?
I don't know what kind of equation they're using. Vienna and the Fire have only played each other once, and it was a 51-20 game in that championship game. So if it's going on basis of teams who they've played, I don't know. But
the spread is wrong.
Statistics.
Yeah. Regardless of what happens, that spread is not going to stay true. I mean,
I'm taking the under that spread.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the part where it's like, Rhine's at home. I've been gassing up Rhine the whole offseason. I really want to pick Rhine. But Vienna just doesn't lose in the regular season. Like, they just don't. It just doesn't happen. And Vienna has been warming up against weak competition. I think they're going to be ready for Rhine.
And their defense just got even better.
Yeah.
So I like Vienna. I'm going Vienna. I'm going like plus 12. Say win by 12. Just kind of have like a 6-point lead.
Oh, no, I think it's. I'm the opposite. I think this game's going to be close as hell. I think it's going to come down to Vienna winning at the end. So I think it's going to be like a field goal to touchdown game, somewhere between.
I think it's going to be like a 6-point lead, and then Jeffries is going to throw like a pick 6 with like 30 seconds left or like a minute.
I can see that.
Kind of be like, oh, it ended up being 12 or 13 points. But in reality, the Fire could have won.
Yeah.
But so we didn't have anything different, even though you thought we were.
I for sure thought you were picking Paris. Yeah, I was kind of banking on it because I need to catch up to you now. But
no, I'm just gonna ride you the entire rest of the year. I'm gonna take it away.
Whoa! Hey now.
Pause.
Hey now, dude. All right. Pause. All right then.
Simmer. On that note. Thanks for listening. Let us know your thoughts. I know a lot of you watch on YouTube, which is interesting. Shout out Alex. I always see you in the comment section. And yeah, to leave us 5 stars. Subscribe on YouTube since you watch on YouTube. Tweet at us, comment on our post to let us know your opinions on week 3. See what we're wrong or right. We had a dude in the comment section last week, and he was just talking about how bad we were for picking against Prague. And
which
we were right.
That guy, if you're gonna flame us, have some more spice. All right, that's my only request going forward. If you're going to come in and talk shit, actually talk shit. Just don't say like unfollow. That's boring. I don't want to see it.
We will clap back. Tanner and Jordan will clap back. in our
And the
comment
thing is
section.
I live for that type of thing. You know,
Yeah.
like I wanna get into a shit talking fest. Like we can be the most interactive community in the world if you constantly just say bad things about us. So be
This
mean,
league is so
be
new.
aggressive.
This league is so new. We're all following it just because we love football. It's not like we're here to, like, we're not diehard fans like we are with the NFL. We're here because we love ball. It's a fun game to watch. It's a fun new league. Let's have fun.
So talk shit.
Yeah.
Say we're wrong.
Yeah. Like the Frankfurt social media team, whoever's leading it, is talking shit in comment sections. I love it. Paris,
Beautiful.
they haven't really said much. They just kind of throw eye roll emojis at us, but still, get chirpy. It's fun. Let's build a fan base. But on that note, thank you so much for watching and listening. Go subscribe to our YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at Fourth Down Fiasco. Follow us because we're trying to build.
Dude, I always get mixed up too.
Yeah. We follow us on Instagram because we're trying to grow. Sick. All right. Till next week. Peace.
Hugs and kisses.
Bye.